everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Ash and I'm here to talk about 2 Point Museum on Xbox. Now this released on the 4th of March 2025. It's developed by 2 Point Studios and it's published by Sega, and I was lucky enough to be sent a copy of the game to do this video and to play through, and I've had a blast playing it so far. Now, if you don't know what the 2 Point franchise is, it's basically like a spiritual successor to the classic theme hospital game. They brought out a game a few years ago called 2 Point Hospital, which was basically theme hospital but modernized for consoles, like of the now, better graphics, more people, everything like that. It kept all that wit and humour, like the British humour in it and everything. And it was fantastic. They then did like the university one, and they've now brought out this brand new one, which is 2 Point Museum. And if you haven't guessed it from the name, you're basically setting up your own museum. Now, out of the 3 2 Point games, I think this is the best one of the lot. Compared to the hospital one, which had a lot of time limits and stress, because obviously you have patients you've got to care for and stuff like that. This one feels a ton more laid back, simple. You don't get punished as much for making mistakes or not hitting targets. As long as you're making money, it's all good. And honestly, I kind of like the museum setting more. I love the dinosaur skeletons. I love the aquariums and stuff like that. It reminds me of Night at the Museum or something like that, and I'm all for it. So, in this game, there's 2 modes. There's a sandbox mode where you can basically build the museum of your dreams, or there's like a campaign mode in which you'll play through 5 different museum locations across 2 Point County, which is the sort of universe that these games are set in. You start off with Memento Mile, which is all like prehistoric dinosaurs and stuff like that. You'll then move on to one which is like aquarium. There's then like supernatural science and space ones. Now, there's also some pop-up museums with like special tasks and challenges, but the core of the game is managing these 5 museums and slowly but surely build them up into sort of mega museums that everyone loves. Now, the way this game works is you have like a skeleton museum. You'll build your entryway, you'll hire some staff, you'll put some exhibits in, and you'll build up interest. If you've ever played games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, any of those type of sim-style games, you'll know what you're getting into here. You have to make sure your exhibits are interesting. That means putting decorations around to make them have a bit of wow factor to bring more people in. You have to make sure you have a good variety so people don't get bored. You have to make sure there's places to sit, places to eat and drink, shops, interactive displays, all that sort of stuff. And you need to keep your museums as fresh as possible. Now, to get new exhibits, and I did like this, you basically have to send your researchers off on missions. Now, there's a variety of maps that you'll play through and unlock as you're going through the game. And there's about 100 different points of interest you can send them on missions to. Now, on this, sometimes you'll be able just to send 1 person, sometimes you'll need to send 4. There's different requirements. Some of them need specific skills, so you'll have to train up your staff to be able to go on them. And you'll basically send them away on a helicopter, a bit of time will pass, and then they'll come back with a reward, possibly an injury, and normally a new exhibit, depending on where you go. Now, each area has so many exhibits to unlock, so you can keep going back to them and unlocking all of them. You can then keep going back to the same well and getting more repeats, and then you can then, once you get a bit further into the game, you can sort of deconstruct duplicate exhibits, and that then makes your existing exhibits more interesting and gives you more knowledge of them, and you can improve them and stuff like that, and also get even more rewards. Now, I really enjoyed this game. It's a ton of fun. I love these types of games. There's so many exhibits and such a variety. Like, you start off with dinosaur bones and stuff like that, and then you end up with like these massive plants, and you have to make sure they're watered and kept at the right temperature. It's really, really in depth. And while I could say it'll flood you because like there's over 200 exhibits in this game. There's over 350 decorative items you can put in your museums. There's little side missions that'll pop up as you're playing, like time exclusive ones. Maybe you've got someone visiting, a health inspector or schools, and you have to make it interesting, or you've been asked to put a timed piece, like an exhibit out, and you have to give it a lot of attention and make sure enough people view it. There's lots to learn, but the way this the campaign works, it drip feeds you new mechanics all the way through. I mean, by the time you get to the second museum is about 8 hours in. I took ages. I was really enjoying just slowly building my first museum up. And you'll go to the second one, it'll introduce new things, but then you go back to the first one and increase the first one with new things you've learned from the second one, and then again and again and again and again, and eventually you have these 5 awesome museums. There's also guests that are like special guests that'll come to your museum, like clowns, Bigfoot. I was like looking at my museum, there's suddenly Bigfoot and his kids were walking past. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. Now the game's full of dry humour. It's got like this radio station that's really funny. The gameplay itself is very simple, works really well on a pad. You can fast forward, pause, time and everything like that. There's research you can do. You can edit the internals and externals of your museum completely. It's great. There's so much. I could talk about it for hours and hours and hours. I'm probably going to do a stream about it soon because I've been enjoying it that much. But if you've liked the other games in the series, like 2 Point Campus and 2 Point Hospital, you need to get this game. It's by far the best one. The customization is off the charts. I was lucky enough to get the Sonic pre-order DLC, so I ended up with like Sonic statues and walls, and in my shops to get Sonic costumes. There's people walking around dressed as like Sonic and Shadow and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool. And the game is priced on Xbox at $24.99 for the base game, which is fantastic. Now it is only on Xbox Series X and S, so you get the benefits of it being on modern consoles only. There is a Explorers Edition for $34.99, which gives you a sort of DLC pack with extra items, an extra pop-up museum. You get like a special package which gives you a good item to start with, 5,000 kudos, which is like in-game currency which you can use to unlock more decorations and things like that. But also, it's really, really cool. I recommend buying the higher edition just because the stuff you get in it is worth it, in my opinion, and it supports the devs. Awesome game, loads of fun, looks great, plays great. I can't wait for the next one in this series. So hit that like button, guys, hit subscribe, and I'll see you soon for more gaming content. Thanks for watching.